catch you if you do that some more. God, who your mother told you about, will not love you. I will not love you if you do that some more. I be sorry for you, because I thought you was his little girl, and mine little girl." Jakey must have spent much time in collecting so many English words, and they were effective, for before he got through repeating them to me, I was as heart-sore and penitent as a child could be. After he had forgiven me, he sent me to Grandma, later to acknowledge my wrong to Hendrik, and before I slept, I had to tell God what a bad child I had been, and ask Him to make me good. I had promised to be very careful and to try never to tell another lie, and I had been unhappy enough to want to keep the promise. But alas, my sympathy for Jakey led me into more trouble, and it must have been on a Sunday too, for he was not working, but sitting reverently under the tree with his elbows upon a table and his cheeks resting in the hollows of his hands. Before him lay the Holy Scriptures, from which he was slowly reading aloud in solemn tones. Georgia and I, standing a short distance from him, listened very intently. Not hearing a single English word, and not understanding many of the German, I became deeply concerned, and turning to her, asked, "Aren't you awful sorry for poor Jakey? There he is reading to God in German, and God can't understand him. I'm afraid Jakey won't go to heaven if he dies." My wise little sister turned upon me indignantly, assuring me that God sees everybody and understands everybody's talk. To prove the truth of her statement, she rushed to the kitchen and appealed to Grandma, who not only confirmed George's words, but asked me what right I had to believe that God was American only, and could not understand good German people when they read and spoke to Him. She wanted to know if I was not ashamed to think that they, who had loved me and been kind to me, would not go to heaven as well as I, who had come to them a beggar. Then she sent me away by myself to think of my many sins, and I, weeping, accepted banishment from Georgia, lest she should learn wickedness from me. Georgia was greatly disturbed on my account, because she believed I had wilfully misrepresented God, and that He might not forgive me. When Jakey learned what had happened, he declared that I had spoken like a child and needed instruction more than punishment. So, for the purpose of broadening my religious views and keeping before me the fact that God can do all things and knows all languages, Grandma taught me the Lord's Prayer in French and German, and heard me repeat it each night in both languages after I had said it as taught me by my mother. It was about this time that Leanna confided to me that she was homesick for Elitha, and she would go to her very soon. She said that I must not object when the time came, for she loved her own sister as much as I did mine, and was as anxious to go to Elitha as I had been to come to Georgia. She had been planning several weeks, and knew of a family with which she could travel to Sutter's Fort. Later, when she collected her things to go away, she left with us a pair of beautifully knit black silk stockings, marked near the top in fine cross-stitch in white D, and under that 5. The stockings had been our mother's. She had knit them herself and worn them. Georgia gave one to me and kept the other. We both felt they were almost too sacred to handle. They were our only keepsakes. Later, Georgia found a small tin box in which Mother had kept important papers. Recently, when referring to that circumstance, Georgia said, "Grandma for a long time had used it for a white sugar box, and kept it on a shelf so high that we could see it only when she lifted it down, and I don't think we took our eyes from it until it was put back. We felt that it was too valuable for us ever to own. One day I found it thrown away. One side had become unsoldered from the ends, and the bottom also was hanging loose. With a full heart, I grasped the treasure and put it where we could often see it. Long afterwards, Harry Huff kindly offered to repair it, and the solder that still holds it together is also regarded as a keepsake from a dear friend." End of chapter 20. Recorded by Donna Stewart, Seattle, Washington.